Hello, many thanks for joining us on Market Avenue, your #1 business analysis program, live on GBC News and also on Facebook at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. My name is Sani Abdurrahman, sitting in for your regular host, Edward Nyanko. Well, the aviation industry's outlook looks positive in 2022, but there are threats from the Omicron variant, and that has caused a lot of concern for players across the aviation industry. Tonight, we'll be engaging an analyst who will be helping us to appreciate some of these dynamics in the industry and what it means for the local aviation industry as the country also tries to increase its vaccination rates to improve confidence and get people to patronize the service. Also, there is a local study which indicates that Ghana's economy will grow above government and the World Bank's forecast. We'll be engaging the researchers to tell us more and how they came by the findings. And that is all we will be having for you for today's edition of Market Avenue. But let's go for the biz language for today. We'll return with what the Ghana Stock Exchange is looking like this evening. Now, go straight to the Ghana Stock Exchange with my colleague Esther Edu, who will be telling us how the market has been faring today. Esther, what has been the market like today for us?
Well, today no equity registered a price change, so the composite index is at 0 points, and the financial stock is also at 0 points because no equity in the financial sector also recorded any price change. The year-to-date change generally is at 0.01%. We crossed the negative zero threshold. And
that's quite some good news for investors?
Yes, if it's going in the positive, then I think it's good news for everybody.
No matter how small it is.
Yes, and the financial stocks is at 0.10%. So in terms of volume for today, I think today is the lowest we recorded for the week, 71,390, and in terms of value, I think is the second lowest, 148,763.15 Ghana cedis. And the market capitalization didn't change because of the 0 points, and the 64.5 as at yesterday, same as yesterday, and the composite index in terms of numbers is at 2,789.52, same as yesterday. For equities that registered price changes, as I said, no equity registered a price change, but for trading, the number of shares that exchange hands for some equities, we have the Cow Bank. I think that's the highest recorded for today, 40,936. We have CPC at 600. EGH 26, Boyle 3,655. I think that was good. MTN Ghana, I think it was just a little above Boyle, 4,546, although it normally brings the most figures. And we have Total, I think the second highest, 20,000. Yes, I think that about sums it for today's trading.
Okay. Thank you so much, Esther Edu, for bringing us up to speed on what's happening on the Accra Bears. We go for this break. We return with our first subject of the day. Do stay with us. 5.5% in 2022, according to the World Bank. Now, the World Bank's projection is, however, lower than the government overall GDP target for 2022 to 2025, which averages around 5.8%. But a new economic outlook has also projected Ghana's economy to grow between 4.9% and 6.3% in 2022, and that's according to the Ghana International Trade and Finance Conference, known as GIFIC, which forecast inflation to reduce, unemployment to also reduce in 2022. We'll be engaging those behind the research to help us appreciate more of their findings and how it can be situated within the context of the dynamics that we're seeing as far as the Ghanaian economy is concerned. Now, to help us with the analysis is Mr. Obediako, who is a policy and advocate in charge of finance and economy at GIFIC. And thank you so much, sir, for your time this evening, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Good evening to you and good evening to your child listeners.
First of all, your projection exceeds the government forecast together with that of the World Bank. If you can tell me what may have informed the consideration you had in terms of predicting Ghana's economy to grow above the target that I mentioned?
Okay. So, taking it from the robustness of the economy, you will get to know that the economy has been thriving quite well based on how government has been able to handle COVID situations in 2020. In fact, we have been doing well as a nation, trying that our growth will not recede. However, we should also get to know there are some major factors to be considered, specifically what happens in the commodity market, of which we know Ghana as a nation still rests on extractive industry, and then also on agriculture. Now, should the commodity market favor us, then we are going to go to say that the economy will thrive from 5% upwards. However, should it not favor us, then on the commodity market, we cannot do anything. So we bring it down to 4.9. However, considering how government has been able to manage the economy amidst the pandemic in 2020, growing 4.9% in 2020, and then even receiving the major shock in 2021, still trying to manage it to grow at 3.1, then minimum 4.9 growth, maximum 3.3 should be possible.
When you say the economy has been doing well, what do you mean exactly? Because if you look at, for example, if we were to situate our conversation around first quarter figures, in the last 5 years, the first quarter figure recorded for 2021, of which you said the economy is doing well, has been the lowest.
Yes, please. Now, the issue is that let's ask ourselves what update? We know the shock of pandemic in 2020 had a ripple effect. Though we had effect of pandemic in 2020, but the major shock was first a year after, whenever that receded in the economy or whatever that was halted in 2020 couldn't revive to the expected stream in 2021. So in fact, the ripple effect of 2020 pandemic, given that the new variant also coming up, is the main effect that we rather had in 2021. So we shouldn't worry at all. 2021, we have 3.1 being the minimum. However, we confidently see that that was the negative ripple effect from 2020 pandemic. And for that matter, Ghana thriving and then also doing well, now knowing and learning from the shock of pandemic, we will make a move.
We are seeing a bit of inflationary pressures in the country. Of course, it's a global phenomenon. We are also seeing a lack of access for governments in the international markets, capital market I mean, because of our debt situation. Have you considered these challenges and what their impact may be on the growth of the economy in 2022 in your forecast?
Now, considering debt, now, let's say a decade ago, we had 31.4%. And 10 years now, we are recording about 81.5% in 2021. Now, where is the source? You could realize that from 2017, when Ghana moved from progressive free APHs to holistic APHs, now it's called the meeting a lot for a good cause. Considering this, 2018, 57.9% debt to GDP, 2019, 62.4%, after the recent 1.5%, we are saying that now government should be able to learn from the debt. For the 2022 budget that we are able to implement, now free FSS alone is costing us 2.8 billion, Ghana Cares programs 1.033 billion, and then we're also going for poverty eradication infrastructure, which will cost us 1.05 billion. The LEADCAP program, Housing for Food and Jobs, 1.1 they're all costing us 12.186 billion. However, if these things are a good cause and we get the maximum returns to drive the economy, why not? But what you are doing is that now, considering internal borrowing, do not go and burden the domestic firms that are suffering already and not trying to survive. Do not only go out to borrow on huge basis to come and fund this project. Diversify yourself. Now you have realized that the government is saying, okay, let's expand the revenue base. A common platform with various municipal and industrial assemblies to be able to expand the revenue base. But there is an issue.
My question is quite direct and specific.
Okay.
We are seeing rising prices of fuel, rising food prices. We are seeing inflation being out of the central bank's targets. Globally, we are having a bit of supply chain disruption as a result of the Omicron variant. Have you considered these challenges in your forecast, and what's maybe the impact of these elements in terms of our economic growth for 2022? If you can go specific with the answer for me.
Okay. We have considered these and gotten to know that now there are basic things that have come to stay with us. Are we learning from pandemic or not? If we are learning from pandemic, then for the shock that we are having, what is the way forward? All that we are saying is that catering for all these things, government should be able to learn from this, and then we are forecasting that the economy should drive learning from these things.
Thank you so much for your time. Mr. Ekobediako is with GitFIC, and they have put together a study which indicates that Ghana's economy will grow between 4.9% and 6.3% in 2022, which exceeds the Bank of Ghana or the government and the World Bank's target for the same year. Well, they have put the explanation out, and we are waiting to see how this may materialize. Now, the outlook for the aviation industry for 2022 is positive, and it is encouraging to see industry experts predicting growth of the industry to hover around 45% in 2022. Some regions have accelerated to pre-pandemic levels, such as China, where domestic flights are up 6%, according to some studies within the industry. We want to understand the impact of the Omicron variant, which is causing another trouble for the world, vis-a-vis the forecast and the optimism that the aviation industry is going to grow well above what we saw in the last 2 years as a result of the COVID-19. To help us with this analysis, Dominic Andor is an aviation analyst and has joined us on the line. Dominic, if you can hear me, thank you so much for your time. We seem not to have Dominic on the line. Dominic, if you can hear me, thank you so much for your time this evening.
My pleasure.
First of all, there seems to be high optimism for the aviation industry for 2022. A lot of experts are predicting that the industry will return to pre-pandemic levels. But there is also threats posed by the Omicron variant. On the local front, what does all these dynamics mean for us?
All right, so for 2022, we expect that things will really pick up. Indeed, for the first few weeks of 2022, things were looking good. And then, unfortunately, Omicron came, and then the likes of UAE had to impose travel bans, etc. But God being so good, we put our house in order. We do the UAE. And the UAE is a major tourist destination for Ghanaian passengers. Big transit path. So the fact that they've opened up means that this is not operating again. Have started operating back to Dubai again, and I know from the others also start operating back to Dubai. So it looks positive for the Ghanaian market. Fortunately for us, South African Airways on March 24 is also opening up more from Accra. So March 24 from Accra, we cannot just connect Johannesburg, we can actually also connect Durban. Qatar Airways have come into the market and they are doing well. And if you look at the load factor, it was actually between 65 and 75% before the Omicron and the lockdown. And now that all these restrictions are being lifted in the UAE and then UK, for instance, it means that we expect things to really pick up, especially in the second half of the year.
Is that to suggest, because I've heard your analysis is based on happenings on the global front. Is that to suggest on the local front, domestic travels, we do not have much challenge even with the emergence of the Omicron?
On the domestic front, I actually think that we recovered last year. Because if you look at Africa World Airlines flights and then Passion Air flights, most of them are booked. You have to use travel to get a seat between Accra and Kumasi or Accra and Town and Africa World. The alternative is Passion Air. So on the domestic front, we have actually recovered, if I should say. It was on the international route that we saw airlines recovering. We were operating 3 flights a week, 4 flights a week, increasing to 5 flights a week. And then this happened towards the end of December. Fortunately, we've now learned how to deal with this Omicron, and the travel ban has been lifted. So going into the second quarter, I actually think that things will pick up very rapidly because some of the airlines are actually increasing their frequencies. Egypt Air, for instance, is increasing its frequency from Accra to Bar Cairo to about 4 flights. It's an indication of the fact that things are doing well, so I can increase my flight.
Dominic, we've seen the government rolling out booster jobs today. How important is the country's vaccination drive and achieving herd immunity in boosting confidence of travelers and also opening up the market further?
The COVID-19 vaccines are actually in line with what the International Airline Association is pushing. IATA have been pushing for testing and vaccination as against travel bans. So once we are doing more of the vaccination, it's good. It means that people can freely travel. The booster jobs, I was just reading an article which said that Israel did some and realized that indeed the booster has more antibodies, but don't necessarily protect you from Omicron. However, what the vaccine itself does is that it reduces hospitalization. People are more confident to travel, but at least they have a certain protection, layer of protection. It's good. So the vaccination has actually helped instill confidence in the sector, and people are now able to travel. Over the last few years, people who have never traveled because of the fear of COVID. Once they got the vaccination, they are willing to travel. And most countries are also now opening up to people who have the vaccination. So it will really help stimulate demand for air travel going into the second quarter.
Thank you so much, Dominic, for speaking with us this evening. Dominic Andor is an aviation analyst and has been helping us to look into the outlook of the industry for 2022. And that's how we wrap up Market Avenue this evening. My name is Sani Abdurrahman. Do join us same time tomorrow for more of what will be happening in the world of business.